Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to Yukon for another one of my tinfoil hat character conspiracy theories. Today I will be reviewing one of the first computer animated films of all time, Toy Story. Without doubt, one of the best CGI films of all time. Today Pixar is well known globally for a number of high grossing movies such as The Incredibles, Finding Nemo, and Up. But back before then, in 1995, CGI was a completely new thing. I remember going to see Toy Story 2 or 3 times when I was just 4 years old and being completely blown away by it. It may have even been the first ever film I went to see at the cinema. The theory surrounding Toy Story is not particularly dark, but is very intriguing and may even have some truth in it. It begins with Woody, who is thought to be Andy's oldest toy. As Mr. Potato Head states in the first film, when he mentions that Woody isn't worried about being replaced by another toy because he has been Andy's toy since kindergarten, whilst they are all listening on the baby monitor to Andy opening his presents. But the question is, how did he come to be Andy's toy? Well, the conspiracy theory says that Woody was Andy's father's toy, who died prior to the first film, which explains the reason for his absence. And his name was also Andy, which is the reason Woody has the name Andy written underneath his boot, and that Woody believes that they are both the same person because they both look alike and have the same name. Furthermore, the handwriting on the back of Woody's boot looks different to the handwriting on the back of Buzz's boot. Not a great deal of difference, and it may even be because Andy was much younger and had only just learnt to write when he first got Woody, which is why the handwriting on the back of Buzz's boot is much tidier because he was older when he got Buzz. But it may also be the case that they were both written by 2 different children. In addition, Buzz is also marketed a lot more heavily than Woody, and probably more than any other toy in the whole film franchise. Such as in the first film when he is advertised on the TV in Sid's house, but also in the second film when Buzz, Ham, Slinky and Rex are looking for Woody in Al's toy barn, when you can see lots of Buzz Lightyear and even Zurge toys are still on sale, even though it's been at least 4 years since the first film, when you were led to believe that the Buzz Lightyear toy had just been released. However, you never see Woody or any members of the Woody's Roundup gang in Al's toy barn or advertised on the TV, so I think the obvious reason for this is that Woody is a much older toy than all the other toys in Andy's room, and you can tell this by how old the products in the Woody's Roundup gang merchandise look like. In addition to the TV series being an old black and white one starring puppets, this TV series could be as old as the 1950s, just when television was beginning, as the prospector tells Woody that once the astronauts went up, children only wanted to play with space toys. I think it's pretty obvious that Buzz Lightyear is named after Buzz Aldrin, the second man to walk on the moon after Neil Armstrong. But the first man to actually orbit the Earth was a Russian fighter pilot named Yuri Gagarin, which was in 1961. So from that, you can gather that the Woody's Roundup gang must have came about before then, and that Woody is a toy that Andy's dad would have played with in the 1950s when he was just a kid. Andy's mum even states to Al that Woody is an old family toy, suggesting that Woody has been in the family a long time, before Andy was born, whilst Al is trying to buy him at the yard sale, which is why Al offers $50 up front before stealing him, as Woody is an old toy which you can no longer buy anywhere like the rest of the Woody's Roundup gang, hence the reason they are being shipped off to Tokyo because they are such a rare collector's item. It is likely that Al, like Andy Sr., would have been the child during the 1950s who would have followed the Woody's Roundup gang. In addition, Toy Story 2 was released in late 1999 before sites like eBay and Amazon were really a thing, where most popular toys were only available in retail outlets, which is probably why he seized the opportunity to take Woody at that moment. You never see or hear of Andy's father throughout the 3 films, which seems kinda strange, as in the first film Andy's sister is a baby no more age of 2, and you never see Andy's mum with another man or even hear of her mentioning one, so it seems like his father died not long after the birth of Molly. The theory states that Andy's father put Woody away in storage when he grew too old to play with him and kept him there until he became sick and realised he was terminally ill, which is why he gave him to Andy. And since Andy Sr. was now a fully grown adult that Woody would no longer recognise anymore, he believed that Andy was the same person as he was a similar looking child with the same name. Now, if you look at this photo here, next to the stairs, it looks like just a picture of Andy wearing glasses, except for one thing: Andy doesn't wear glasses. Not once do you see him wearing any. in any of the films. He doesn't have an older or younger brother. Therefore, it can only mean that this is a photo of Andy Sr. as a child, which looks very similar to Andy, which is the reason why Woody believes it to be the same person. This may be the reason why Woody just refuses to accept the fact that Andy doesn't want to play with him anymore. Right up to Toy Story 3, when Andy is 17 years old. From the start of the film, he is still trying to get Andy to play with him and all the other toys when they're hiding in the chest and ringing the cell phone, so Andy opens it and finds them. Jessie even explains to Woody that Andy has moved on and it's time for them to do the same, as she understands this, as she too may be as old as Woody, as she was also part of the Woody's Roundup gang. However, she may also be the only other toy to have an owner before Andy, such as her previous owner Emily, who gave her away. So therefore the whole experience of having an owner, growing up and being too old to play with her isn't a new one. In addition, another member of the Woody's Roundup gang, the Prospector, goes from being a wise old gentleman to being the antagonist of the second film because he is fearful of having an owner and being sold, even to the point of forcing Woody to go to Japan, as the toy company are only interested in buying the set if he is in it. You can tell how fearful he is of this by how much his personality changes as soon as Woody suggests that they go back to Andy's, and he is even willing to hurt Woody just to avoid the possibility of that happening. In Toy Story 3, Woody tells Lotso the moment he arrives at Sunnyside that they have an owner to get back to, and then leaves as all of the toys remain, as they understand that their lifespan as Andy's toys is now over. However, Woody is willing to abandon his friends. He has that much loyalty towards Andy. However, Toy Story 3 was released in 2010, so at this point it may be that Woody could have had the owner for up to 60 years and probably cannot remember much of his life before then, and therefore does not understand that his time with Andy is finally over. And this belief is fueled even more where Andy says he's taking him to college, which is why he personally believes the other toys are selfish for wanting to find new children to play with and move on with their lives, as this is unthinkable to Woody because he has spent what could be 6 decades with Andy and his father. I'm going to be honest, I think this theory could be true. There is plenty of evidence to suggest that it is. The Woody's Roundup gang are a very old collection of toys. The photo on the wall does look like Andy, but not enough to be Andy, and you never hear about his father or any other man his mum is in a relationship with. Why are they moving house with so few belongings? The stuff they're moving over is just in the van and the one car. Most people moving home need at least 2 vans and a car to move all their stuff, especially if they have young children. And why don't you see his father, despite his sister looking like she could be no older than 18 months? It could be wrong. Most of these cartoon conspiracy theories usually are. I personally would never come up with one, because I don't believe I would ever have 100% evidence to prove that this is true. But I think this one holds up pretty well, and would offer an explanation for the absence of Andy's father throughout the 3 films. It is not inappropriate in any way. Disney has recently started to kill off characters in their films. Pixar's Up, Carl's wife Ellie has a miscarriage and then dies within the first half an hour of the movie. There is another theory that Pixar didn't think it was necessary for Andy to have a father because it wouldn't add to the story, and believed it would just be a waste of money for them to animate the human, which could be true, but at the same time I wouldn't totally disregard this theory. So for that reason I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Thanks for watching this video on tinfoil hat cartoon conspiracy theories. My next one will be reviewing The Simpsons if you want to check that out. But that's all for today, and once again, thanks for tuning into Yukon.